let's say I make a couple $100,000 a month on profit after taxes, after everything. What do I put my money in?
It's very important to understand that it has to do with...
Today's guest is Alex Douedari, a former hedge fund manager and crypto expert with 20 plus years in finance. He's the mind behind Hedge Fund Mastery and has seen markets rise, crash, and evolve.
One of my passions is car collecting. I have a McLaren, I have a Bentley, I have an Aston Martin, a Maserati, a Ferrari.
Should I sell my Ethereum and slap it into Bitcoin?
Well, first of all, no financial advice. Yes.
All right. How far do you think Bitcoin has potential to go up?
I think it's going to be 8 figures.
Fuck.
If you're looking for an even higher, bigger play with more or less the same reliability, to me that's...
I was like, what do I do with all the money? Buy gold. So I bought a bunch of gold bars.
What you just did, and I'm just going to, pull your leg here a little bit for a moment. You're showing that you have no fucking clue. So...
You're a burger flipper at McDonald's. Be the best fucking burger flipper this whole franchise has ever fucking seen, because what you're doing is you're building a track record, and that later on when you have a company is gonna be transparent in your sales process, your onboarding process.
I have a simple trading strategy. So the rules I trade, all of that very clear. I have a 2 years verified track record. I'm up over 110%. That's what I'm doing. Here it is.
Alex, good to have you here. What the hell are you doing in Austria, man?
Actually, I'm here with my team. We're recording a bunch of content. We're creating a new short movie, in fact, actually. Yeah. And like my guys are over here. And last time I brought them over to Cyprus, and this time they brought me over here.
What's the movie about? Are you playing a Bond villain?
Yeah, something like that. No, actually, what we're doing is that I'm trying to... I've been in trading and finance for like 20 years now. And I think there's tons of misconceptions. As much as there is more access to things, there's just... little understanding about it actually works. A lot of attention is on short-term trends and things that are actually that don't really work if you try to do them. And so what I'm trying to put into a really nice way for people to see and understand and feel is like the core principles that made me successful, and really to understand how financial markets work, like that it's actually a flow of energy a lot more than about numbers, and that it's a lot more how as above, so below sort of thing. If you understand physics, you understand thermodynamics, you can actually understand finance in the same way.
What do you mean there's like a flow of energy? Are you going to go esoteric on me now?
No, it's like, it really is like that, because at the end of the day, everything in the universe is about, like an energy transfer and then seeking balance again, right? So when you have certain cause and effects happening, whether it's in the market or whether it's in electricity or whether it's in temperature, then certain movements are predictable that are going to happen. And if you understand to take advantage of those, then you can position yourself pretty good, actually.
Damn. Okay, hold on. So here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. So when Trump won a couple of weeks ago, all my money friends, like all my entrepreneurs, 7-8 figures, everybody was celebrating. They were all like, now we're gonna make some real fucking money. They were all fucking excited. Bitcoin went through the roof. I bought a shit ton of Bitcoin in 2017. I bought Bitcoin at like 8,000.
Nice.
And I still hold it.
You should.
Yeah, it says some of my first money that I made with the natural, my first $1 million program, I was like, Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I don't even know, I don't check my portfolio or anything. So everybody was excited about making money. But I didn't quite get why. Why does a presidential change have such an effect on making money for other people that are in business?
It's very simple, because at the end of the day, what we've seen in the last years of the prevailing party and their policies and the regulators was very restrictive. Speaking again of energy, if you close the door on the flow of energy, it cuts it off. Now what we're going to see is a pro-crypto, a pro-business, a pro let's make money environment. And
Sick.
that just enables tons of opportunities. Simple example, the still head of the SEC in the US, he went bananas, basically suing every crypto company out there for not following the rules. And when the companies would come back to him, ask him, dude, we want to comply with the rules. So what the hell are the rules? He'd say like, no, I'm not going to tell you the rules. I'm just going to fucking sue you.
Classic.
And what we see now is that, for example, Donald Trump, also the people that he, people try to simplify this whole election on Trump alone. And I think that's a misconception, because what's very different to Trump in 2016 is that the people he put in place now, the team in key positions, are actually extremely interesting. And every single one of them is a go-getter out there, And for example, for crypto, he appointed David Sachs, which is, you may know him. He's like one of the founders of PayPal, for example, or part of the PayPal family.
Mafia.
Exactly, that's the word I was looking for. I don't use that word usually,
Love it.
So he's like the crypto czar, and he's the point is they're creating frameworks, they're creating policies, they're creating rules, and they're all probably also invested, So you're gonna pump their own bags on top as well. So people could hate them, or people could take advantage of things, and this is what I also try to say about energy flows. Like, you can hate physics. You can, have all sorts of opinions against all sorts of things. But at the end of the day, you will not make the rules of the game. All you can do is understand the rules of the game and flow with it,
And play to win. Don't hate the game, play it and fucking win it.
Yeah. Don't hate the game, don't hate the player.
Yeah.
Just be a winner.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So what does your portfolio look like? How much of your income is you're a business owner, in finance, you're investing?
Right.
If you put a percentage on it, roughly.
Yeah. Well, I'm all in investing and trading. All in. Like, so I don't believe in real estate at all. I'm not as crazy as you, so I don't travel all the time. But so like in German, we call a real estate Immobilie, which means like it's not mobile. You cannot fucking move it, right?
Good point.
So that doesn't work for me. Also, I like to be liquid. Liquid means flexibility. I can really, make decisions that are flexible.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, people that invest in real estate usually just don't understand how to generate enough return with their liquid assets enough.
Yeah.
And this is what I do. I know exactly how to generate return from liquid assets. That keeps me flexible, and I have an above average return. And I'm not talking about just the S&P type of return, because that's also a fallacy. If you're just making the return the S&P is making, you basically are just accounting for inflation.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. You're not making money. You're not making money at all. You're just keeping your money. So you got to beat the S&P actually to be making money.
How much of a percentage are we talking about that you need to make in order to beat it?
Well, it depends on the year, but I think right now, in this current environment that we're in, anything under a 10-15% a year is losing money.
Shit. Fuck out of here. So what are some good liquid assets that you generally recommend to people?
Well, it's very important to understand that it has to do with your age, with the phase in your life that you're at, the assets that you already hold, the cash flow that you already have. So there's a bunch of metrics that are individual for every single person, different also. So that's,
all right. Let's say I make a couple $100,000 a month on profit after taxes, after everything. And I have these just lying around. I don't want to have them, whatever. I don't want to have more than $500K on my bank account in cash, because that's all I basically need. And I don't want the money to just rot away on their bank account.
And
so
you want to be flexible.
And I want to be flexible, and I don't want to do real estate. What do I put my money in?
I would certainly go with Bitcoin is one very, very important and good asset you can store value in, for sure. You got to understand that volatility, meaning how much an asset moves up and down, is enabling market participants to be, this is also what I mean by energy. If you have more volatility, it builds other markets around it. It brings more market participants to it. So if you understand the fundamental reason why Bitcoin is a sound asset, the hardest money humanity has ever seen, then you don't mind the volatility. You actually would happily enjoy grabbing more of it when it drops. We just saw a drop from 108 to, I don't know, 90 or something. I had my limits all lined up, and
nice.
But that, like, Bitcoin is one thing. But if you want to be a little bit less passive, more active, certainly what I would suggest is studying MicroStrategy. What is MicroStrategy doing? This is like basically the company of Michael Saylor. They are a Bitcoin treasury company, and they are using all sorts of financial ninja moves in order to create, like, or to add value to their own stock. So that stock outperformed Bitcoin by a massive amount this year, for example. Why is that interesting? Because, again, if you want to go even more less passive, Because if you buy MicroStrategy, you basically buy a Bitcoin plus investment. Like Bitcoin plus additional income through. I'm not gonna go too deep into that, but like addition added to that. But if you want to go like even more active, you could start to go into the options market as well, and you could start to be selling options, meaning you can collect premium. You can generate income from holding a stock, and that's something. So you basically make money on both sides. You hold the stock and you capture the upside of the stock, but at the same time, you also generate income holding the stock. And now, the generating income part and capturing the upside, they're capped against each other to some degree, depending on how you actually trade the options. This is maybe a little bit too nerdy talk here right now.
Fuck it, let's see. We got time.
So essentially, when you're selling options, you cap your upside, but for that you collect a premium.
Yeah.
Right. So you're collecting a fee and you're giving away a certain percentage of your potential upside. Now, if you time that properly, as to like you look at a week out, a month out, and you look at like how much out of the money you actually want to sell the option, then you can find a pretty nice sweet spot. And again, the more volatile the underlying asset is that you sell the options of, the higher the premiums are. That's why, again, volatility is something you want to have in the options market. And because you can make a ton of money this way. And even if you don't want to go into, like, let's just say the digital asset space of that, you can even do that with Tesla as well. Tesla is also a pretty
fucking volatile.
you could say that. But also from a long-term hold, I'm certainly in Elon Musk's supporter. This guy doesn't fucking miss,
I mean, that again sounds like I have to be actively involved in order to make money. Right? That for me personally, that's not something that I want to invest in. I want to rather just be, here's some money, and then when I check back in a year from now, it made me more than the inflation.
You could do that with a simple buy and hold, but everything I just told you right now could be probably also done in 10 to 15 minutes a week.
Oh, no shit.
No shit.
No shit.
No shit. Because you know what?
Fuck.
I'm not a slave to my money.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm living a freedom lifestyle, I didn't replace my job with another job sort of thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely not,
Yeah.
And so this is where you, again, need to understand, where do you need to position yourself? What are the key things, metrics, actions that you need to take? Pareto, 80-20.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a 99-1 if you want. And it's fine. That works. But again, if you don't know that, then even someone like you, I would assume, would know that. But it seems like, you obviously, look, we're all in our bubble, right? Like, we all do our thing.
Exactly.
And I can also understand that if you are into your business, which is also, I don't think, like, when we reach a certain level of income or wealth, that we continue to do our jobs for the sake of money. But it's like, it's just fun, you like what you do, right?
Exactly.
And this is where you want to keep your attention on.
Yeah, exactly.
And so same for me as well. And that's why you got to have you got to find solutions that actually work with that are not, like you said, you don't want to be spending time trading, looking at charts and all that shit.
Yeah, fuck no. For me personally, not. I know this is your stuff. You love that.
No, I don't do screen time either.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, for me, it's all like we have such a high return of ad spend. I talked to a bunch of guys yesterday that had a podcast. And it's like, whatever, when you have like a 4x, 5x return of ad spend, I'm like, well, no shit, I'm going to put it in that.
Yes.
So if I put a dollar in, I get $5 out within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
There's no, and I'm in control. Right, so whatever. Let's say
you're gonna hit a cap somewhere, right?
It's somewhere.
And
at
then
some
you
point,
figure out, okay, what else can we do now?
Exactly, and then you're like, okay, now I have all this money coming in. I don't want it rotting on the bank. Where else can I put it? Where I don't need to fuck with it. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to invest mental bandwidth in it. But it does make me more money,
right?
And it decreases the amount of risk.
The only thing you gotta be, you gotta understand is that everything you said, you can do that quite simply. Just should you have a very short-term need for the money, it could be not the best moment in time to need to pull out your money.
Yeah.
Because again, if we have volatility, then you might be underwater a little bit. You might be up. If that money has been in that for a while, then the likelihood that you're gonna be up is pretty high.
Yeah.
But even then, if you know these things, you can cater to them. You can make a choice of where and how you're going to put your money within those parameters. This is what I said earlier. The more you know what you need, it's like, what I tell people always is that you cannot take a race car to the desert. It's just not going to drive there. The same principles of physics apply there, but just the environment and the need of what vehicle I need is different, right? So the rules of physics are the same. And this is the same here, like the rules of the financial markets or like volatility, return, risk, time horizon, all of these metrics, they're there. But if you know which ones are relevant for you, then you can build something for that again, it's not complicated. Absolutely not. And you can manage that in minutes a week.
When you mentioned Bitcoin now a couple times, when I first invested in Bitcoin in 2017, everybody was like, yeah, Bitcoin is the shit. I mean, again, like that was the time where it started just cracking 10K.
Right.
I invested at 8K-ish.
From $1,000 to 20, and then it went back down quite massively.
Exactly. And then people started talking about, okay, well, Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then people started saying, okay, Bitcoin might have been the first, but it doesn't have as much usability. It's not as practical. It's quite clunky. It takes forever. Eventually, Bitcoin will die out, and then another coin will like get through to the top. But now, I'm not the expert here, but over the last year or so, I've heard people saying, no, like Bitcoin is the only one that will survive, and all the other ones will go down. What's your take on that?
Very simple, actually. First of all, Bitcoin is uniquely positioned in this whole crypto thing. There's Bitcoin, there's crypto. Those are two separate things. They are. Why? Because the whole genesis story of Bitcoin and also how distributed it is across the world, the hash power it has, like meaning the computing power, it has no leader, no nothing. All of these things are unique.
Yeah.
Ethereum is led by Vitalik, like a weird-looking dude, let's just say, for lack of a better word. No.
They all look weird, man. All these crypto dudes look
well, nobody knows like how Satoshi Nakamoto looks like,
Pretty
right? That's
sure
sort of the point.
Fucking weird.
So Bitcoin has stood the test of times because yes, the concern that newer technology might replace older technology is a valid one. We see it all the time with computers, with phones, with everything. Who's AOL today or whatever fucking internet company that doesn't exist anymore, and Bitcoin survived all these tests. We had, for example, in 2017, we had the block size war when they tried to replace, they were real Bitcoin OGs, and they tried to replace the real Bitcoin with their larger Bitcoin version, the Bitcoin Cash, and it failed miserably. And that's sort of really the thing is that Bitcoin has proven itself time and time again. And also the simplicity that was considered a weakness at some point in the past is its strength today. It doesn't need to be faster. It doesn't need to be more bells and whistles on it. It's a base layer type of reliable functionality that nothing can stop or change or alter or fuck with, okay? And this is what makes it so, and it's completely distributed all around the world, It's the strongest computer network that ever existed. Like, even if you put all the supercomputers of all the other countries in the world together, it's like hundreds times stronger, okay? So that's why it is possible, like investing today in Bitcoin, there has never been a more clearer picture of where this is going. This is why it's trading at $100,000. In 2017, there were, maybe Bitcoin could have failed against Bitcoin Cash. Maybe countries would have banned it. Maybe, the energy equation of the mining, whatever, wouldn't have worked out. So there were a bunch of maybes still there. This is why you could buy it at a discount, So what people misunderstand is that price is not just a number. And this is also what I mean by energy and by flows when you understand markets correctly. Price reflects risk and reward, and it's basically, it simplifies it in a number to really consider all of these things. And this is why certain things trade at a certain price. And if you ask me right now, Bitcoin is probably still underpriced in where, if you look at its current hash power, which is at an all-time high as well, much, much higher. But also, if you're looking for an even higher, bigger play, with more or less the same reliability, because at its core, it is Bitcoin. To me, that's MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is probably going to outperform Bitcoin in the next couple of years.
What is that?
MicroStrategy is a company listed. It actually just got added to the NASDAQ as well. It's been in existence for over 20 years. It's led by Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor is more or less the, how can I say, like the Bitcoin evangelist, if you want. Like, and what he did in 2020, I think it was, or 21 when COVID was, like, when he saw all the markets crashed, he is a company that is doing business software and business intelligence software, so like Microsoft, like IBM, and he just saw his company would die a slow death because he cannot compete with the big guys. He had like $500 million on his balance sheet that were just melting away because of inflation. There was no interest rates anymore. And then he discovered Bitcoin and he studied Bitcoin and came up with the idea, hey, I'm just gonna buy Bitcoin forever. Keep buying Bitcoin. And now what he's done, especially this year, he has raised money by debt, because debt is so cheap. People are throwing money at him in all sorts of ways. Like, he's issuing bonds, he's issuing additional stocks, selling them ATM, as it's called. Like, anyway, we don't want to get too technical, but he's increased his Bitcoin stash now to 450,000 Bitcoin. All right. And because he's done that, and because it's a volatile stock, and even the bonds he's issued are the most successful bonds of the last year, not just his stock. And if you look at the bond market in general, most people don't really have any relationship with the bond market in the world, but it is the biggest market in the world, much bigger than the stock market, for example. Massively, bonds are struggling. Treasuries of like interest rates are going up for the bonds, which means the price of the bonds is going down because they have an inverse relationship. So nation states, banks, companies, all their bonds are failing. Why? Because fiat is failing. Because it's an inflationary system. It's like a melting ice cube. Yeah. And here a guy comes and he just adds Bitcoin to his stash and refinancializes it and actually takes on cheap debt to add Bitcoin to his stash. It's called basically adding Bitcoin yield to his stock, and this is just creating massive upside. And yeah.
So hold on a second. So we've talked a lot about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I think I bought more Ethereum than I bought Bitcoin back in 2017. Both is up a lot, I think.
Yeah,
as far as
no comparison.
What's your advice to me? Should I sell my Ethereum and slap it into Bitcoin? What has more long term?
Well, first of all, no financial advice. Yes.
All right. I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but do this.
I can give you my reasoning.
Love it. Yeah, let's hear it.
Look, I
don't even care about the reason, but I'm gonna do it. That's me with crypto stuff. I'm like, dude, I'll just do it. Okay, I don't care why. Just do it. But no, do explain, please.
No, like, first of all, Ethereum is far behind this year.
I'm literally gonna set myself a reminder. When I'm home, I'm just gonna get my ledger out and I'm just fucking. So I'll sell all my Ethereum, all of it.
Well, it depends on what you want to do with it. But what I would
make money. That's what I want to do.
I would one portion of it I would buy MicroStrategy stock. Another portion I would just add to Bitcoin, and yet another portion I would probably go more into Solana. Not because I like Solana more, just because there's more activity on Solana. I think it has, based on the amount of users, the amount of money on there, the amount of projects, it's just undervalued in comparison of market cap versus Ethereum. That's just a simple take.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna clip this, and then a year from now, whatever, I'm gonna see how much money I made, and then I'll cut it together. Yeah. Like you telling me to buy Bitcoin. So
that would be my best estimate. Yes.
Okay, sick. So you don't think Ethereum has any sort of? When do you think will it go? Will it go bust?
Well, I think it will. Like, look, if the whole crypto market continues to goes up, and I think that Bitcoin is going to continue to do that and drag the rest with it to some degree, then Ethereum probably still going to see some upside. But if you look at the Bitcoin versus Ethereum chart, not Ethereum versus dollar, because again, if you're comparing Ethereum with dollar, you're comparing shit with shittier.
Yeah.
And so Ethereum will probably continue to gain versus the US dollar, but it's not going to continue to gain versus Bitcoin. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Particularly not long term.
That's good. Like everybody I talked to said similar things to what you said. It's like, just forget about the Ethereum, just put in Bitcoin.
And if you really want to have that layer 1 blockchain exposure, I just think Solana is the better play, because again, it's cheaper and it has a lot the value of it in total is much smaller versus the activity on it, versus Ethereum's activity. Look at metrics like amount of developers, the amount of money on it, the amount of users, the amount of wallets created. Like just look at the actual life in there. Again, the energy that's moving in there. Solana, I call it sometimes the black hole sun in a way. Like it sucks in a lot of all this blockchain type of activity. Maybe Sui is a little bit like that. That's yet to be seen. But that's, again, like a much higher risk play than Solana in comparison. And the safest bet, honestly, is Bitcoin. And if you want to have a Bitcoin plus, that's MicroStrategy stock. But also, I think Tesla is another stock you absolutely find me saying it's undervalued. Why? Because people have no idea, or it's absolutely not priced in what this Optimus thing is going to do. Like, in a couple of years, we're going to have so much fucking robots all over the fucking world doing so many jobs. We're going to have all the self-driving cars. Like, a huge part of the whole economy will be operated by Tesla products. And that's absolutely not priced in.
I've heard so many times that the original idea behind Bitcoin was less as an investment vehicle, which accidentally is what's happening right now. It's more a practical use, that literally actually people use it to buy their groceries, buy their cars, pay their rent, and so on and so forth. Why do you think has it not been adapted to this more practical usage?
Yeah.
And what do you think is better for the future of Bitcoin?
I think the reason being that it's the adoption, and this is why it's still a huge opportunity, is still small, comparably small. Like, ask your mom and pop, they heard about it, but they have no real exposure or understanding, or it's not part of their lives in any shape or form. So that's why I think, and this is what I just explained, is that Bitcoin as we know it today is the base layer.
Yeah.
It's like essentially, and everything else that we like, payments and all these other things, they would be, in my opinion, on like a layer 2, a layer 3, like basically apps developed on top of the Bitcoin network. For example, Lightning. I don't know if you heard of that.
No.
So there's a Strike in the US by Ben Wallace, super cool guy actually. No, Ben, I forgot his name. Fuck it. Anyway, awesome guy. Just look him up.
All right.
And so he essentially uses the Bitcoin network that you can send dollars. So on top of it, with using the Lightning network. So applications like these will be built on top of the base layer, and there will be all sorts of usabilities that will be built on top. It's like on the internet, you have like the TCP/IP protocol that is underlying, and then you have all this other shit built on top of it. Okay, and this is sort of why Bitcoin, in my opinion, in its base layer function, is not suited. It is, you can use it for payment, but not for micropayments like that. But as we see more adoption through apps that will be bringing more usability, and also let's not forget that the whole regulatory framework was still one of let's just call it not a tailwind so far, okay? So that's changing, especially in the US. And other countries will follow suit, and then we will see more and more of these things happening.
How far do you think Bitcoin has potential to go up? Where do you think will it stabilize?
Look, nobody really knows, but I think it's going to be 8 figures at least.
Fuck, really?
Yes.
Because I remember
for single Bitcoin. And then people will start to transact in Satoshis.
Yeah. Because I remember when I bought it, I was like, I'm so late. I'm buying it at 8,000. I'm such an idiot, And then it kept going up, and I'm like, all right, but 20,000, not gonna go much more than that. And then I remember first people saying, it will go to 100K, and I'm like, no way, 100K for one Bitcoin? No fucking way. And now he's sitting here saying 8 figures for a single Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. So I'm not even gonna sell that shit.
Never,
at all.
Ever. That's the next thing.
Just keep fucking buying it.
All the infrastructure.
I should buy more shit right now.
Well, wasn't me.
Dude, you literally said financial advice.
No, but also everything around it's going to be built out more. Like we've seen already now in the US, there's companies starting to give real estate loans where the collateral that you're given is going to be Bitcoin. And actually Bitcoin, as it goes up over time, is going to pay back your loan over time.
Wow.
Or you're going to be able to borrow against your Bitcoin. They're like in a much easier way. So there will be so much more. Like Bitcoin's going to get legitimately financialized and integrated into the financial system more and more and more and more and more. And that will make it more usable, more flexible, and it will also have lesser reasons to ever fucking sell it.
Fuck yeah. I'm just gonna, because when I first heard about Bitcoin, I bought a bunch, and then I was like, this is stupid, because I felt like the people behind it were all these like idiots that didn't have any fucking knowledge about actually building a business. Just Bitcoin is the future.
But that's what's changed. This is what I'm saying now.
And
this is why buying today, even when you think the price is high, it's never been safer to buy than
exactly
today.
Like over the years, it went from like random internet virgins telling me about it's the future to like more and more legit and like more and more stable. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy that I still have it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's good to
you
hear.
should better figure out that you keep your security safe, your storage.
Yeah,
safe,
have it on a hard
things.
wallet and shit like that, or cold wallet, or whatever the fuck it's called, like a thing, like a physical.
There's a bunch of people in Los Angeles that had their wallets and their seed phrases burned down. You know, that's by the way.
Yeah. Well, I don't live in California, sir. I have it in a city that is very cold, where there's not a lot of sun. So yeah.
So you should figure out your security for sure. You know, like especially as it continues to go up, it is of significant relevance.
Apart from having it on a hard wallet, what else would you recommend?
How you store your seed phrases.
On a piece of paper.
Well, that's the worst thing you can do, man. The only worst thing you can do is have a photo on your.
That I don't have. Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna do that. That's kind of dumb.
No, you should up your ball game here.
Okay, what do you put it on LastPass or something like that, like a password
no,
saver?
obviously not.
Okay,
never
right.
digital. That was, for example, man, you could get like, for example, you could get from Treasure. There's this time capsule thing where you actually you hammer in a binary code that is fire resistant and everything. So you have like a metal real thing, you know, like a capsule that's not even like will survive I don't know, like a bomb attack or something.
Yeah, okay.
Or for at least a fire, you can get also a metal plate where you can carve it in. And like there's sorts of simple physical real solutions to that.
What is that called? Treasure? What is it?
Treasure is something like a Ledger. It's just a different company, but they have like a seed phrase storage thing. It's called a capsule, whatever, something. Like I'm not affiliated. I'm not selling anything, but there's solutions like that you can use.
And then store it in obviously in separate places.
You could even do that. You could do like a multi-signature wallet. Let's just say you need 3 out of 5 seed phrases, and then you could have 5 of them somewhere across the world, like Indiana Jones, you know, and then just tell your kids like, okay, son, you gotta get this one.
Daughter. But the thing is, with these cold wallets or hard, I still don't know the difference. They can still physically break though, right? It's just a USB stick.
Okay, so what you just did, and I'm just gonna pull your leg here a little bit for a moment.
Well,
you're showing that you have no fucking clue. So,
exactly. I don't. I openly admit that. I don't care.
They're not stored on a device. The device is only the access to the blockchain. The blockchain is like a cloud.
That I get.
You know?
I understand that.
So so why are you worried then about the device?
Though.
If you have your seed phrase, you can access your cloud part from anywhere.
But why do I need to fucking plug it in then?
Because this thing is storing your seed phrase.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would need to, you know.
Okay, now I get it. Yeah. So I don't actually have the seed phrase that I'm storing. I have the access to the thing that I'm storing, and that stores the seed phrase.
Exactly. That basically has the private keys, as it's called, or the access to your your portion of the cloud of the blockchain.
So when I have this metal thingy with the code in it, I don't need the physical
real access.
thing. Okay.
Anyone who has that can access your wallet from anywhere.
Sick. So I don't even need the USB stick thing.
You don't
anymore.
necessarily need it. No.
No shit.
Yes.
That's much cooler. It's also it's cooler, you know, like a metal plate.
Yeah. You could kill someone with it.
Yeah. That's sick. That's sick. That's why. That's like I have a ton of gold as well, just like an actual gold bar.
Yeah.
Because that's like you don't need to know anything about it. You know, you get for the stupid like
True,
you buy the gold.
Try to travel with it.
And
somebody's gonna ask you what you know about it.
But that I like. It's like here's the gold bar, and I have it, and I can dude. And that was the first investment I made in 2015 before crypto. I was like, what do I do with all the money? Buy gold. So I bought a bunch of gold bars, like the actual gold bars.
Yeah,
and they're heavy as fuck. And I don't even know how much worth they are right now.
It's a relic. In my eyes, it's a relic. Like if you compare the actual, what gold is or what makes gold what it is versus Bitcoin. Bitcoin has all these attributes and more.
Yeah.
And there's one thing that a lot of people get wrong. Gold is not finite. In fact, the gold production, especially in the recent years as the price went up, the gold production has also increased to an absolute maximum, historic maximum. So the amount of gold, new gold that is being created is at a maximum.
No shit.
So it's not like Bitcoin, where you absolutely... Bitcoin is 100% inelastic, not elastic supply, okay?
Yeah.
Gold is elastic supply. Elastic means it can't change.
Yeah.
Bitcoin supply can never change.
When do you think Bitcoin is going to be mined out fully?
Well, we know that. So basically, and this is the most relevant part, the next 10 years, 99% of all ever Bitcoins mined will be mined. So the next 10 years are actually the relevant one. After that, it's going to be a bunch of decades where there will be another few Bitcoins coming, but they're like a very small part of the total pie. And if you think about it, probably there's an estimate around 4 million Bitcoins have been lost over time. You know, people losing their paper phrases.
Fuck. They're unrecoverable, right? That's it.
Yes,
They're gone forever.
No chance. So essentially, we don't have 21 million Bitcoins. We probably have 18, something like that.
Man.
Or someone like Michael Saylor, he holds also like a couple 100,000. He has no kids. He said like, I'm just gonna, make a donation to the Bitcoin network when I die. So he's not gonna give it to anyone.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be inaccessible when he dies.
What do you mean he's gonna give it to the community, like random people?
No, if you just die and nobody ever has access again to your Bitcoin, it just reduces the available Bitcoin.
Oh wow, that's what he means.
Yeah.
Is it still worth to mine Bitcoin?
Privately, no.
Why not?
It's just like, it's like too much energy that you need. And also, and that's another thing that I think will going to be a lot of competition happening. There's many like energy sources in the world, remote, whatever, waterfalls, gas flares, all of these things that are usually not capturable in any way because they're economically not viable to really harness them. Again, energy.
Yeah.
But more and more, even let's just say poor countries are taking advantage of these things and are building server farms to mine Bitcoin right on these sources of energy.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
And even now, Germany, my home country, so with the smartest government of all time. I really mean that, by the way. I'm not sarcastic. I love those guys.
Oh, no shit.
No,
all right.
I don't.
Why you keep smiling like that?
I'm a friendly dude, So they just sold, I think, 50,000 Bitcoin in the summer, and now they're just saying like, maybe we should use all our failing wind and solar energy to mine Bitcoin. And then they're just realizing, man, we can't even do that with that shit.
Classic. Why can't you use atomic energy to mine Bitcoin?
Of course you could.
Because that's like the most infinite energy ever.
You could, but I think atomic energy will play a much bigger role in AI because
there's quantum computing and shit like that.
Yeah, just like the required resources to run an AI economy must be hugely bigger than it is today. And China, for example, they don't give a shit. They're just building coal. Like there's no tomorrow.
Don't they build like 10 per week or something? Some crazy
thing. Like, and this is what really makes me sad about Germany. They cannibalized and euthanized their whole industry and economy to save less gas than China puts out in a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Carbon, I mean. Like why? Like, dude, you used to be a smart country.
Yeah.
Anyway, but with Trump coming, and that's another thing, he understands that. So he says, like, we're going to give permits, we're going to build an atomic and give it,
Good.
Because whoever, and this is why I think AI will be more used, atomic energy will be more used for AI and things like that, because that will be the key differentiator for economic power in the next decades. Bitcoin will continue to be like the financial. That's actually also a thing, is that Bitcoin will be more like a more internationalized base layer of value, So there will be less misuse of a reserve currency like the dollar has been. Of course, the US, in my opinion, is still going to be, the baddest in the room, for lack of a better word. But it will be like more distributed. But how much AI computing power a country, a nation has, that will determine also how big of a player on the global scale it is, in my opinion, at least.
Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you, number one, drop a like and a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. Number two, if you're watching this on iTunes or Spotify, leave a 5-star rating. It helps a ton to get this podcast out to more people. It's been growing super duper well, and it helps me get more awesome guests like this one here for you. So make sure you do that. Thank you so much. I appreciate the living hell out of you. And now back to the episode.
Interesting. I bought a bunch of mining rigs last year for for like Cadena and Casper and Litecoin, I think, or something like that. Like 50K worth of. I was like, fuck it, might as well.
Yeah.
And it's going pretty well. They're just like printing every day, and they're in Dubai, so the electricity is pretty cheap.
Yeah. Look, the thing with these is that, especially these fringe coins, for lack of a better word, they could work out, but they could just as much fail. You could you could suddenly be sitting on a bunch of useless tokens, and you wouldn't be the first one that actually happened to, and because you're not really paying attention to when, why, and how, and timing is not your thing.
Totally,
it might actually happen. So I would sell as I can, in my opinion, at least.
Sell the rigs or sell what I'm getting. Or...
I would sell both personally. Look,
good to know.
There's a lot of hate in the crypto space against Michael Saylor because all he's done is buy Bitcoin and sit on it. And he's outperforming all these fuckers out there.
Okay, good.
If you're up for the fun of it, like buying cryptos, hey, I'm a rig, I have this, that, it's fun. Like, you don't buy a sports car because it's like economically viable.
Amen to that.
It's like it's an experience, and it's also like a story you tell yourself. Like, I want to be this sophisticated technology guy in some shape or form in some area of my life. Fuck 50 grand, you know what I mean? Do it by all means.
Yeah.
But if you're just looking store of value, long-term reliability, and actually the safest, strongest bet out there, it's the simplest choice.
Love that. That's exactly the kind of shit I'm in. Simple, don't need to understand much, and make me some money.
Right.
Because the thing is, like, again, like, mental bandwidth is like 99% of my business. It's all I do because it has the biggest leverage for me.
Yeah.
So if that's a big problem I see with a lot of people that work with us. They get into their first money. They make their first 30K, 50K, 500K a month. And then they're like, okay, where do I invest? Everybody says I got to invest. Everybody says I got to have all these different kind of sources of income. And now they spend all this extra bandwidth on all these complicated things when they have a business that gives them the most money for the unit of bandwidth that they're investing into it. And that's exactly very similar to what I almost slipped in as well. And then I'm like, oh, I got to understand this. I got to understand that. And that's why I think it's so golden what you said of like, just keep the shit fucking simple.
Yeah, you have to.
Exactly.
Opportunity cost is a real thing.
Yeah, it is.
And also, complexity doesn't equal results at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And we know that from a bunch of things. So, especially, when people start to make some money, like even if you think of real estate, people think real estate is like a no-brainer type of safe bet. But there's so many risks tied to it that you're not seeing. First of all, you have property taxes. Then it could be in a jurisdiction. Fucking fires could fuck this thing up. You could be in a jurisdiction where you're suddenly not allowed to raise the rent, or or inflation. Like there's so many risks on there that people just like to ignore because everybody buys real estate. And then you gotta, they didn't pay rent, or now it's empty, and now it's this, and they changed the law, and fuck my life, sort of thing. You don't have that with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin costs you $0 to hold it.
True. Yeah.
And it just keeps up, and it outperforms everything.
I mean, dude, if it really does hit 8 figures, holy fuck. That's gonna be
I think we'll still be alive when that happens.
Yeah? What time frame you think?
Look, that I can't tell you, but
roughly 50 years. 10?
10.
Yeah? Oh, I certainly hope I'll still be alive in 10 fucking
years. You rather
years.
Use your mental bandwidth to be looking even sharper than you look today in 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like, this is the funny thing is, how old are you now?
43.
Damn, you look young, man.
Yeah,
it's all the laughing at money. It's the money and the good times, man.
No, it's the good habits, actually.
That too. I actually think we're like, our generation, it's going to be relatively normal for us to get over 100 years old. I honestly, truly believe that. Yeah. Like, I think in our lifetime we'll see that they find a cure for cancer. I think, and that's a big one. Like, cancer is one of the biggest ones. I think they're gonna find a cure for like decay of organs. So it's like your heart can go forever, your liver can go forever. There's artificial solutions for that. Artificial limbs have been already existing for a very long time. They get better every fucking day. Hip replacements, knee replacements, all this shit.
Yeah.
I think over the next 40 to 50 years, especially with the advancements of AI, a lot of these computations that couldn't have been done can now be done. And then, so that's the first stage that they'll just kind of figure out how to basically let you stay alive with a pretty decent, comfortable style of living. And then I think the next thing that they're going to find out is DNA sequencing and then fucking with the DNA before you're born.
Well, you already have that with CRISPR, obviously.
Exactly.
And, I think before we get to like the very fringe part of things, it's like because look, I've gone through a transformation myself. Like I didn't look this, let's just say, good, just a few years ago. In fact, I was also like neglecting my health, neglecting a bunch of things. So I did spend a considerable amount of researching health protocols, and like I lost a ton of weight. I changed my diet, my exercising regime, and all of these things. And I literally aged backwards. And and there's also, let's just say, there's so much new knowledge about peptides. You know, there's really recovery and like all sorts of things that you can enhance your body really doing the job that it got poisoned not being able to do anymore through the shit we're eating, the environments we're in, and all of these things. And even within all that environment, you can really do a lot to at the end of the day, mostly what aging is a look, I'm not a doctor or anything. It's just like my personal opinion here. It's just like the cell renewal is at the heart of things. You know, like the speed of your cell renewal or the ability of your cells to renew actually is what makes you age, is what makes you get sick, and all of these things. And so what you want to be doing is to slow that down, obviously, but also and the most simplest way to do that, first of all, before we get into peptides and chemicals and all of this stuff, it's just like eat properly, real food, you know, like get off all the processed shit.
Yeah, amen to that.
And make sure that you get like proper minerals and vitamins and all of these things, you know. I know like that you changed from vegan, I think, to
vegetarian,
vegetarian. So I'm all in for meat, man. Like, let the fucking cows fart all they want, you know?
Yeah. That's so fake anyways. Like, all this left, there's a lot of weird bullshit,
man.
It's a very, very, very weird bullshit with the meat eating. Very weird. And again, like, I love talking about that because I have done both. I've been vegetarian for 12 fucking years, right? And it's funny, too, when people are trying to make fun of me, like, oh, I thought you were vegetarian, now you eat meat, bro. I'm like, yeah. That, like, I'm one of the few people that fucking changes their mind. Guess what? When I'm presented with proof to the opposite, I change my fucking mind.
That's actually something people should. That's actually also cultural. Let's just say. They're retarded if people talk to you like that.
Yeah.
Because changing your mind based on a new understanding is actually intelligent.
That's the fucking point. Yeah. That's like they seeing it as a bad thing that I changed my mind. Like, bro, that's the whole fucking point.
That's
you haven't changed your mind about anything in the last years. What the fuck are you doing?
That's what trading teaches you as well. Like, course correcting is like an integral part of success. Yeah. You gather data, you have a theory, a well-researched theory, you go with it to market, you see your results, and then you adjust, you know, and that works for anything. It doesn't matter.
You can't have ego in your decisions. You can't build an identity based on that. And for me, it was like it worked extremely well being a vegetarian until it didn't.
Yeah.
And when it stopped working well, I'm like, okay, my testosterone is low. I'm constantly stressed. I'm plateauing at the gym, even though I lift very heavy, work very hard. Okay, let's try the meat thing. I tried it for like a month. I started feeling really good. After I think 3 or 4 months, I started looking at my blood. My testosterone went through the roof. Okay, now I'm feeling really fucking good. And then, funny enough, I put on some of my older T-shirts from like a year ago, and they didn't fit anymore. I'm like, holy shit! Like my I'm getting much more muscular. That's insane too.
Nice.
So meat is incredible, and also the main reason why I became a vegetarian in the first place was because ethical reasons. I didn't want to be part of an industry that grows food in a dark room, and you're just feeding the cow, and it never sees.
To that is fair enough.
But the thing is, like, I make a ton of money, so I don't need to buy the shitty.
There's other sources, exactly.
Yeah, so I literally in Austria, I go straight to the farmer. Nice. I go into his fucking farmhouse. He has a little mini counter in his house. I visit him at his home.
Very nice.
And I'm like, what do you got? And he's like, well, just yesterday I slaughtered this bull, and here's the fillet.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was outside yesterday, like on this grass he was chilling, okay? And now you can eat him. Yeah. That's a really happy cow, you know?
I agree.
And that cow just has the best of his fucking life, and then it goes into a corner, and then it just falls to the floor because it gets this bolt to their head. That's a quote-unquote nice way for that animal to die.
At the end... look, I lost 60 kilos in the last 2 years or something like that, but I added like over 25 kilos of muscle at the same time. And a lot of it obviously is also exercise, but diet is the main one thing. And of course, everybody has to try for themselves what works for them and what doesn't. But for me, it's clearly the same thing. You just eat clean, sourced meat. You eat, you avoid sugar spikes generally. You know, you don't crave shit, and you really feel good. You keep pushing in the gym. I'm still pushing higher and higher and higher. I go work out 5 times a week, sometimes 6 or 7 even.
Love it.
And I've never felt more alive in my life, you know. And I've never been in a better place, in touch wood, right, than I am today at my oldest age, you know, like whether it's mentally, whether it's financially, whether it's physically. This, I think, what you want to be doing is to be in your highest capacity, because this is where you can give most back of value to actually your environment, the world around you, and all of these things. And the more people would actually try to be at their peak performance, the more we would be in a better place, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd collectively raise our consciousness and get better 100%. And be more productive and get more shit done. I talked about this yesterday also to some of the guys I had dinner with. And it's funny because they all say like, oh, in your 20s you have your highest testosterone, you have the most energy. I'm in my 30s now, mid-30s. I'm like, I feel way better than in my mid-20s, way better. And it's all just down to understanding nutrition better, having better nutrition, having better regime, sleeping more, sleeping better.
Sleep is very underrated.
I fought with my sleep in my 20s way too much. We wore it as a badge of honor if you underslept. Oh, I didn't sleep in like
hustle culture.
yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute, that really sucks. That's really fucking bad. It's really
I think
bad.
One thing that's very underrated is that you might be physically in a better place when you're young, but we are a mind, body, spirit complex, you know? Like, we're not just a body, we're not just our mind, and we're not just our soul or spirit or whatever you want to call it. We're a complex of these things. And as we grow through life, as we grow through experiences, ups and downs, challenges, wins, losses, disappointments, big wins, big wins, you know, you just... the overall or the full package of who you are increases with age, in my opinion.
Exactly. I talked to so many people. So many of my mentors are in their 50s, and I all asked them the same thing. I'm like, when do you think did you peak in terms of the output, the things that you could do? And they all say the same. They're like, yeah, maybe I had a little bit more energy in my 30s, but I have way more experience now. I'm in my 50s, and the experience really is the multiplier. That's the lever.
It's psychology as well, you know? Like, when you're 20, you just have, like, so many things you're anxious about.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because you don't fucking know.
Yeah. It's so true. Like, in your 20s, you're unsure about your place in life.
Yes. And that's part of the story. It's supposed to be like that, because you need to be more curious to try things out, like to see, what am I actually?
Exactly, right? Yeah. You just got it, like Gary Vee always says, you just fuck around in your 20s. Just find shit what you're into. What did you do in your 20s?
Oh, man, I used to...
Let's hear some of that.
The whole thing started, I used to do rap music in Germany, man.
Really? Wait, really? What the fuck? Are there songs on YouTube? Are there music videos of you somewhere?
Oh, man, yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, can I find it?
Probably, yeah.
What do I type in? Let's see.
Oh, man.
Let's go. Done.
Actually...
That trailer, you shouldn't have talked about that.
Actually, if you go on my channel, on my YouTube, I have like my story on there, and then there's a section of it. We could, I don't know which minute.
What do people type in to get to that?
Just Alex, and then my last name, Douedari.
Yeah.
And then you should find my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I did.
And then the main video that's on top there, like from
that's you. That it includes you rapping.
There
from
is
shame,
like a
from
short,
shame to millions. That
yeah,
one?
Exactly that one. Let me just figure out at what timestamp it is, and then you would not believe
when did this video get shot?
Man, that was, I think, 2003.
Dude, because I was gonna say, you literally look 10 years younger right now.
Oh, really? That's just a couple months ago.
But dude, I don't know why, but you've gotten even younger. And last time we met was in
France.
In Cannes.
Yeah.
At the mastermind with Ty Lopez and Nicholas.
Exactly.
Yeah, like even since then you look way younger.
Yeah, because I'll just keep pushing, man.
That's amazing, dude.
I found my rhythm. Right, okay, go to 3:50.
Okay, 3:50?
Oh no, actually a little before that. Wait, 3:40.
Okay.
Oh,
all
man,
right.
fuck. You're gonna laugh.
Oh, I do. Oh, let's go. Wait, what? That is you? Dude, you were fat as fuck.
Yeah, I was.
Holy shit. That is sick, man. Damn. Dude, you look so different. Dude, you look like a different human then.
And that's maybe also a message I want to convey here.
Wow,
is that
is sick.
Wherever you think you are stuck in life right now, you're not.
That is huge. Okay, so I really recommend everybody to check that out if you're just listening. That's you with the red hat, right?
Yeah, that's fucking me.
That is a different human. You look like a gangster. That is sick. Okay, so that's how you started.
Yes, and I tried to like have a music career for like 10 years or something. It was a different time. We had no social media. We had no means of monetization. We had like, it was just a lost cause. But I think what it taught me was a lot about myself, about like patience, about dealing with failure, about being stuck, I guess, and that's also one thing I think that's important to come to terms with, is that the only thing you can really control in life is your personal choices and output. You cannot control your environment. You cannot control your luck. You cannot control the time you're in. You cannot control the country. You know what I mean? Like, you can only do so much. But this is what I meant when I said earlier, just now, that when you think you're stuck, you're actually not. You never know what's coming down the road, and you should really understand that. Channeling your own power, your own ability, you can literally transform yourself to anything you want to become and be. And that's like also a part I want to, or a message that I want to put out there. And maybe that's also one of the reasons why I keep pushing myself. I really don't do it. Honestly, I like seeing myself now as well, let's just say. But it's more important to convey the message, because I know there's tons of people out there that are just stuck wherever they are, whether it's physically, whether it's financially, whether it's mentally, whether it's the country they're in, the marriage they're in, whatever it is, So the message I want to put out here is that you can literally change and transform to anything, but you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. And also, just like we talked about with the whole investment thing, it's simple. Don't overcomplicate shit, Pick your biggest area, focus on that, do only that every single day until you see some results, and then you course correct and continue to do that forever.
Yeah, amen to that. Really, it's just this fucking simplicity. Everybody is being told they have to diversify. Yeah, diversify when you're making a couple million a year. Then maybe diversify,
Diversifying is not for growth. Diversifying is for keeping.
Exactly. It's for safety, for just putting your eggs.
And even then, I'm all for growth, man. Fuck diversification.
Really. It's so funny. It's such a shiny object, and everybody diversifying.
Yeah, because people are inherently afraid. That's how we're wired, that we're built, because fucking dinosaurs would eat us, or whatever the reason is,
I fucking love dinosaurs, man. Okay, so let's get back. So you do the rapping, okay?
Yeah. So and
young,
then,
overweight Alex does the rapping.
Does the rapping, never gets anywhere. Actually, we did have one. We wrote one song for a band at the time, and we went top 10 in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland.
No shit. What band was that?
Tic-Tac-Toe. We did the.
I love Tic-Tac-Toe, man.
We did the comeback of them. Spiegel. It's called Spiegel.
That was your song?
Yeah, that's my song.
I remember.
You'll find me in
the.
Yeah, exactly. You'll find me in the. That's exactly the song. You'll find me in the credits there.
That was
I did the music for that song, actually.
Wow, that is so funny, man. That is one hell of a circle moment for me right now.
Oh, funny. And so this is where I made a little bit of money, and then I went into trading with it, and I lost fucking everything. And then.
Okay, what did you trade? That was like the 90s?
Yeah, no, that was
early 2000s?
It was 2000. It was 2000. But so I tried to get into trading, and then also shiny object. Hey, there's a friend told me, I know this Forex guy. He makes a ton of money. You could just let him trade for you.
Oh, so, the classic scam offer.
And I basically lost all the money in a day's time.
How did you lose it?
Because I put it in a trading account. The guy traded, and he just over leveraged and lost it all.
In one day?
In one day. And
how much was it?
50 grand that I had saved. My life savings, basically. And then I tried to reach out to him, and he didn't answer me. And then
of course he didn't answer you.
He did then answer, and this was even worse then, the more stupidest decision of my life. But it's like, it's all connected. That's what I'm saying. Have faith. God's taking you somewhere. So he told me, if you bring more money, I'll make it back, and you don't need to pay me. So I actually asked my parents. They cashed in their retirement money, and they gave it to me.
Oh, no.
And I put it in a trading account, and then, wait, here's the story. And then they gave me like 90 grand or 100 grand, something like that. We put it in the account, we started trading. Next day, we made the money back, but we had the positions open, And then the trader asked me, hey, should we close the positions? I told him, like, dude, I don't know. You're the man. We just made 50 grand a day. I'm going to be fucking rich. And next morning I wake up, there's $3,000 left in the account.
Oh no, dude. No.
Yeah, and I was suicidal for some time. The only reason I didn't kill myself is because I was just too scared.
At least you were too scared of that.
I was contemplating jumping out of the window, jumping in front of a train for months. What I did then is actually I started an internship at a bank, at an investment bank, and the rest is history.
Well, keep telling. This is an interesting story. Keep talking.
So what I did is that it was a bank out of Munich, and they opened a branch in Berlin. And so this is where I got lucky because I was a little bit early they built basically the whole Forex and futures branch of that bank at that time there. So this is where I learned everything about trading derivatives, I think is then the professional word for it. Like trading on margin leverage contracts. And so the clients that we had at the time at the bank were like other fund managers and things like that. So what I was doing is I was everything, you know. I was tech support. I was making coffee. I was cleaning lady. I was the whole thing, you know. I was literally living there day and night. And essentially what I did is then I was able to get mentored by really high profile people from the professional financial industry.
That is so sick. That I did exactly the same.
Yeah.
Just doing laundry, bringing coffee, going grocery in order to get fucking mentored.
Shit fucking works.
It's the best thing ever.
Shit fucking works.
Best thing ever to do.
People need to stop to be entitled, and they also they don't understand that the slow way is the fast way.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good one.
It is.
That's one tweet right there. Slow way is the fast way.
What's a couple years? Nothing.
Yeah, true. Really, it really doesn't fucking matter. It really doesn't matter.
Especially if you learn a skill set that sets you up for fucking life.
Yeah.
You know?
I talk about it so many times. It's like, it took us 2 years to figure out cold traffic between 2021 and 2023, okay? That's 2 years of hell. You got to figure everything out. The marketing, the branding, the sales, the delivery, the communication, the social media, everything I had to re-figure out. You know how long it took me to say, oh, it was worth it? I think a month. After a month, I'm like, after a month of it having been cracked and making money, I'm like, yeah, whatever, 2 years, whatever. I feel good. Yeah. I feel fucking good. It took me 1 month to forget 2 years of eating shit.
And I think that what people don't understand is that this is how the universe is built. Sure, there are some people that are lucky with their first shots. And it brings me back to the simple differentiation between is it possible? Yes, but what is probable? You want to do what has a probabilistic higher nature, not what is possible. Anything is possible. I can walk across the street and fucking die.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Yeah.
But how probable is it in this fucking road out here? So learn to understand the difference between possibility and probability, and then align yourself with a high probability outcome. And just find the high probability outcome that you're actually also enjoying eating shit for some time.
Yeah, amen to that. So you work in the bank, you get mentored. What happens then?
So what happens then is that essentially I started then to build my own trading ideas and strategies and get mentored across over a couple of years. And then I actually pivoted over to a hedge fund in Switzerland. Where they were also like, they had investors, they had like a running business, and I moved over there with basically running then the whole investment side of things. And essentially in that year, I even won a couple investment awards. Like we flew out to New York, sat with these guys, and won a Hedge Week award as best macro manager, and also in London in the fucking Dorchester Hotel as well. So that was like you said, like it took me 1 year to make up for 5 years of sort of thing. And then I had a realization then that I was saying, like, look, I don't want to keep just climbing the corporate ladder, because I was just this rapper dude, like, I didn't want to, like, okay, now you see me all suited up, but this is just because I look good, obviously. And so, and then I just went private, just doing my own shit, managing my own money, and having kids, family, stuff like that.
How many kids do you have?
2 kids.
Wow. How old?
7 and 12.
Okay.
And so that was for me more important to have my focus there. So I literally was at home as my kids grew up, working from home. For me, that was something that is irreplaceable. Again, you gotta decide your own priorities in life. Like not what's good for me is not necessarily good for you or for somebody else. And that's another thing that people also need to stop doing. It's just modeling after some fantasy story they see somewhere online. The reality has more depth to it, and again, course correct. Find your path that you want to go. Probably I could be 10 times as rich as I am, but what the fuck am I gonna do with that? So again, other people would argue, well, fuck, you could do. Why did you not? It's fine. So that's then what I did until then. And what I'm doing now, essentially, is I added this whole idea of wanting to share my knowledge, my story, my take on life and finances to help people, find theirs, basically. And actually, again, in a no-nonsense way. Just like you help people build stripped down businesses, that's my approach to investing in finance, and so that people can actually focus on other things as well.
That's beautiful. And then you moved to Cyprus.
Right.
How long have you been living
there? 7 years, something like that.
Yeah, no shit.
Between Cyprus and Dubai, actually.
Oh, nice.
That's the funny thing. It's Dubai is closer to Cyprus than Germany, and I just found myself being more there than.
So what's the setup, Cyprus and Dubai, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, there's no setup per se. You just have homes in both places.
Oh, okay. You're incorporated in Cyprus?
Yeah,
or
sure.
Both?
Yes. No, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Sick. Interesting. Because I'm thinking about it too. It's like I've been living in Cyprus, I think also for 7 years, 5 years-ish, something like that. And I'm also like, maybe Dubai. All my friends live in Dubai.
Yeah.
They have their setup in Dubai. I'm like, maybe I should do the Dubai thing. I'm not sure.
Well, Dubai is, obviously the zero tax times are more or less...
they're over,
over.
How much do they have now? 11? 10?
I think it's 9. But it also depends a bit on the type of business you have. Again, not even the tax accountants over there know exactly. They just say we need to see how it's going to be applied.
That's fucking funny, man.
So at the end of the day, Dubai for me is a great place to go there, suck up the energy, see all your rich friends, drive a Ferrari. I have a Ferrari there, for example.
Oh, no shit.
And
it's just in a garage there?
Yeah, of course. Why not?
You have a Ferrari in Dubai that's just chilling in a garage for the 5 times you're there to drive around?
Correct.
Which one is it?
Actually, again, I
don't know.
I have a very special taste of cars. I'm not into the most latest modern hype sort of thing. I have an FF, which is
nice.
It's a 12-cylinder. It's essentially the Ferrari Enzo engine in a 4-seater Ferrari because I have 2 kids.
Oh, wow. That is sick.
And I love the car, man. I removed that's another thing. One of my passions is car collecting. I have in Cyprus, I have 10 cars or something.
No shit.
But I don't just. I modify cars a lot.
No shit.
For example, I have a McLaren. It has about 900 horsepower. Right now, I'm just putting a turbo kit on my R8 and.
Let's go, man. But in Cyprus, it's all left driving, but they have the steering wheel.
It doesn't matter. At some point, you just. You drive both. You don't even notice the difference. That's fine.
Do you have any Japanese cars?
Actually, no.
Toyotas, Mitsubishi Evo.
The only
Supras.
Japanese I might think of is a Supra or a GTR, but
yes. Yes.
Before I get to that, I'd probably still gonna be stuck with some German, Italian things. For some reason, I have more British cars than I ever thought. I have a McLaren, I have a Bentley.
Oh, Bentley, nice.
I have an Aston Martin.
Fuck yeah.
I have a Maserati, a Ferrari. I have an Audi. I have a what else? We have a Porsche, obviously a Porsche.
Which
Mercedes, Cayenne Turbo, just that's a mom and pop car,
Not bad. Yeah,
S63, S-Class, AMG as well. And
the
thing is this, I count that to my German heritage, which also helped me a lot in my life and my business. I care about details a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I want to understand shit. So every car I have, I understand the type of engine it has, what kind, whether the technology behind it, the engineering, the underlying engineering, what gearbox it has, what engine it has, does it have turbos, is it naturally aspirated? I'm really into that shit.
No shit.
Because I think the devil is in the details, which is actually a positive statement. It's not a negative statement.
Yeah, that's fucking funny. That's a good one.
So details matter. And the more you can actually, concern yourself with details to a degree that doesn't confuse you or exhaust you or is a problem for you, the more you have a chance in whatever other area that you actually then try to focus on, you can be an overperformer.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, this is a competitive world, and you gotta be, it's not survival of the fittest. In my opinion, it's survival of the most adaptive, but being adaptive means you gotta know your fucking shit, you know?
Which, by the way, the survival of the fittest means exactly that. You're fit.
Right.
Not fit in terms of sports, but you're fit for something.
Not a physical strength.
Yeah, you're a good fit for an environment.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, compatibility sort of thing, right? Yeah, makes sense.
I love what you said there. The saying, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Everything, 100%.
And when I was in high school, I was like, I was always a very smart kid, but I never gave enough of a damn to really capitalize on that.
Same here.
Yeah, and I was always like just barely scraping by with no studying at all. And then in my last year of high school, I'm like, I wonder what happens if I just actually study. And I got A's in everything, straight A's. I had literally an average of A. Like in Austria, it's 1.0 was my average.
Einserschüler, huh?
Complete Einserschüler. I was top of the school when I graduated. Like I had everything 100%.
Very nice.
And they're like, damn, like what the fuck did you do? And I'm like, and for me, it was just a way to diss the teachers.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna diss you, telling you all your shit is super easy, and I can just breeze through it. And then what I started doing towards the end, this was so funny. I was asking for extra homework and stuff, and everybody hated me. I'm like, yeah, I don't really feel challenged. Can I just do more? And they're like, you are asking me to do more work? I'm like, yeah, I don't feel challenged by this. And that would really fuck with the teachers, which was so funny. But funny enough, for me, that back then as a 19-year-old, it was just like, it was fun. But I was 17, not 19. But then later on, that track record helped me with everything else in business as well. I'm like, this is just like that one time where I just started to get really good at stuff. And I realized this too, because a lot of people say, yeah, I'm just starting a business. Oh, but it sucks to grind to get a 10K a month. I want to be at 100K a month. I want to be at 500K a month. And I always say, like, what do you think you're going to do when you're at 100 or 500K a month? If you can't even grind right now to get motivated enough to get a 10K, what do you think is going to happen when you're at 100K or 500K?
Yeah.
Now, granted, the grind aspect is going to become less. You might sit less in front of your computer. You might spend less time on each and every task. But the gravity of the thinking is only going to get heavier and heavier.
Yeah.
The repercussions of mistakes are not going to be you lose a client for $3,000, but you use $300,000 worth of money from that one decision. So if you can't get your shit together right now and force your brain into understanding the dynamics and the decision-making process, you're not going to be able to do it later.
100%.
So go fucking do it now. Hell, if you're a burger flipper at McDonald's,
Do it good.
be the best fucking burger flipper this whole franchise
100%.
has ever fucking seen, because what you're doing is you're building a track record of being immaculate at what it is that you're doing. And that later on, when you have a company, is going to be transparent in your sales process, your onboarding process, the way your staff communicates with each other, all the way down to the fucking cleaning lady, how well she's going to clean your office.
There's even one more aspect to this. Your relationship with yourself will be of a different one, because if you always hold yourself to high standards, you actually have respect for yourself. You know, you will see yourself as someone who's awesome.
So true.
You will have
so
a healthy,
true.
great relationship with.
You
I'm
don't
not saying that
tolerate
don't be
bullshit.
cocky, don't be, but at the same time, if you're always hold yourself to high standards, be good, then you will not have a disregardful relationship with yourself.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's this whole idea of like, you get what you tolerate. So if you
100%.
tolerate yourself slacking off at the gym, like, you have to do 10 reps of this exercise, but you're like, I'm just going to do 6. No, motherfucker. You're going to go back and going to do the last 4, and you're going to do 1 extra for the bitchiness that you allowed yourself to come through for a minute. So it's exactly that. It's like, if you can't do everything perfectly, then what the fuck are you even going to do? Because there is going to be that guy or girl that does do it perfectly and is going to take you over. This is especially dangerous when you're in a very easy niche. I see this time and time again when clients come to us and they're like, oh yeah, I make like 50K a month, I make 100K a month. And I'm like, you don't have work ethic, you have no idea about your sales process, you're probably losing sales left and fucking right. And then I always ask them what niche they're in, and they're always in some random super niche where there's no competitors yet, right? If you would do this like as a fitness coach, you wouldn't be making any fucking money. But these are always people that are in a random niche where they're the first ones, and they're very exclusive, they have no competition, and they think this is what it's supposed to feel like to make $100K a month. I'm like, no, this is not what it's supposed to feel like. You're fucking lucky right now.
Misguided, actually.
Yeah, like misguided. All you need is a single fucking person, like a motivated, hyper-driven 18-year-old that does everything a 1% margin better than you do, and you're fucked.
And that happens to all these crypto bros.
Exactly. I was gonna say that. All these crypto bros, they make some fucking easy money.
Easy money because they bought some shit while the tide rose everything.
Exactly.
And then they lose it all back and more.
Yeah.
And they didn't earn and they didn't learn. You know. And
amen to that. Misguided is such a great word because they now have a track record of like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be. Let me build a business. They build a business and they're like, this is really hard. This didn't feel like that when I made my money. Yeah. What is this? And now you have wrong expectations and you're fucked. That's why, like you said, slow is actually the fast way.
It is.
Right?
Because
like
it's sustainable.
Amen to that. Like you rather eat shit for a long time and build it up slowly.
You keep growing. Of course you're going to have some valleys in between because that's the nature of the beast.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
But your trajectory is ever up.
Yeah. And the crazy thing too is there's people who are like, oh yeah, but he made 20 million in 1 year. I'm like, yeah, 20 million. You're going to live for like 60 more years. 20 million over 6 years is not a lot of fucking money. It's not a lot of money. Oh yeah, it's a lot of money if you live in fucking Brazil.
What you're saying now.
Yeah,
but I agree.
Maybe you know, yeah. There's people, but if I told this yesterday at dinner, and the guy was like, "But if I live in Brazil, bro, and I just have a house," I'm like, "Yeah, who wants to fucking live in Brazil in a shitty fucking house for 60 years? I want to have a shit ton of cars. I want to have houses in Brazil and in Europe and in the States and in Tokyo, like." 20 million is not a lot of money over 60 years, especially if you got a family, especially if you want to do good for Mother Nature, especially if you want to retire your parents. That's not a lot of fucking money. You want to be making 20 million a year. Then we're fucking talking. In fact, I got friends who would counteract that and say 20 million a year is not a lot either, bro. So
that's crazy. There's always another ball game.
There's always another fucking ball game, and it's not like we're greedy or anything like that. It's like, well, first of all, what the hell else are you gonna do?
That's a very important thing that you say there. I think desire is often demonized, but I think desire is the driving force behind creation. If you don't, desire is what drives creation.
Yeah.
If you don't have desire to want this, to create better, to improve here, to be there, like, how are you going to create all these awesome things that we have today? We'd still be stuck in fucking caves.
Amen to that. Nothing. And it's again, like, it's not just like for you that you like, there's also then, especially young folks that are like, well, 10K a month, I'm doing fine for myself. Yeah, but who said that the goal is doing fine for yourself? What about your parents? What about your future kids? What about your best friend? What if your mom gets sick?
What about your potential?
Yeah, what about your fucking potential? Like, again, like, you're doing a disservice to everybody else.
Leave it to God what your upside is.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Just keep pushing.
Why not? What else are you going to do?
Because if you think about it, if the universe is that ever-expanding force, then why would you not be that too?
Yeah, it's a good metaphor. Even the universe is fucking expanding. Why aren't you expanding? And
you are, like, in my world, the way I see, like, let's just say, who we are or what we are part of that universe, field, God, force, whatever you want to call it. And whatever goes for that force goes for us as well. We're just an individualized portion of the same fucking thing.
Do you believe in God?
Certainly, yeah.
What type of God?
I don't believe in religion in the sense that I am Christian or Muslim or whatever. I grew up Muslim because my parents are from Syria, but I grew up in Germany, so a Christian country, so I'm already confused.
Yeah, classic, yeah.
No, but I've studied like a bunch of spiritual, let's just say, sources, and I do believe that there is a creative force that essentially governs all the rules of the universe or whatever we hear, and I think consciousness is a way of is essentially the expression of the God force in a way, because and that's another thing that a lot of people get very wrong, in my opinion, is that creation means you move from the potential of everything to you focus to make it something. And that's essentially what God is doing in my eyes, or what's happening here in this realm of existence, is that the potential of everything is experiencing itself in some things. In a way, for lack of a better expression here.
It's a very good.
And that's what we are too. So we discover our creative force in us, or the spark of divinity, or whatever word you want to use here.
Beautiful.
And then you are surprised how far it can carry you, how much potential, creative force, possibilities you have in yourself, what avenues going to open for you, what challenges you're going to grow by, that feel difficult. Like all this, I see everything as a signal to steer like a different direction, to course correct again, like what we just talked about. So when something doesn't work, I don't see it as something negative or bad, or I have bad luck, or the word is so unfair. It's just like a signal telling me you got to correct in a different way. And that's essentially what we're here for, I believe, is that we are part of God. So in a way, none of us is going to cease to exist in a way, not maybe in this individual Alex who I am today, right here, right now. But and so it's a really just like God experiencing itself through individualized portions of consciousness that have free will. That's the simple version.
Damn, we're going. It's so funny. We've touched on so many different things, and now we're going full on guru in this. I like it. It's funny because sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe it's just the fact that we have separate physical bodies that give us the illusion that we're separate, when in reality, on a metaphysical level, we're actually coming from the same blob.
That's why I said mind, body, spirit complex. This is how I see ourselves. So spirit is our God connection. Mind is our brain that is decoding or has the decoding whatever it's able to decode with its five senses. And the body is where we're housed.
Exactly. It's like we're all part. Have you ever done ayahuasca?
I've done, actually.
Oh, yeah, you did?
Yeah.
Did we talk about that in Cannes? That could have been.
I'm not 100% sure.
I can't remember. But that was exactly the feeling I had when I did. I've done 2 ceremonies.
Me too.
In 2019 and 2023. And
I did 2 in 2 weeks.
Wow. I mean, it was multiple ceremonies.
We brought a
within
shaman actually over from Peru.
Us too. No shit. We brought one from Brazil. The Yawanawa tribe was that guy.
But since then, I haven't felt the urge to do it again, I have to admit.
Yeah, same for me. So it takes a couple years to get back to it. So 2019, and then 4 years later, I did it again. I don't really want to do it more frequently than that. Weirdly enough, though, both times I was kind of scared that I would turn into a hippie. That I'd come back. I'm like, no, money isn't everything. But every time I came back, like, let's make some money, man. Let's do more.
Oh, I certainly came back making money.
Yeah. For the second trip I did, there was like 10 entrepreneurs. I was an entrepreneur, and I think 4 of them I sold to become my clients. I instantly paid for the whole trip just by having these guys.
It's just interesting to experience, let's just say, another realm of existence where you're sort of disconnected from what is otherwise not disconnectable, let's just say. And then when you come back, you just have a bit of a different type of perspective on things. Let's just say, for me, the way I was like thinking about I understood things, that was or gave me like the groundwork already of, but when you experience that, it's a different level of connection with the all, or whatever you want to call it, and then that's why like I take my life serious in the sense is that I want to really tap into my potential and really live out that godly force that we're all blessed with, but at the same time I just let go and let God, in the sense is that I don't obsess about very stoic. I have no business with things I have no control over. I try to put a lot of discernment into the matters that I actually have control over versus the ones that I don't have control over, and I focus all my power, energy, and focus and attention on the things that I do have control over, and I just leave the rest to God.
How long did it take you to get to that level of stoic understanding?
Oh, I haven't arrived there yet.
Okay, got it. Classic stoic. But how long?
It's a process.
I was gonna say if you would denote a year or a period of your life where you said that's where I started to get it.
Yeah, when I first started to read like into a bit of spiritual content, and that was actually after I lost my parents' money and everything. This is when I discovered self-development, and luckily I discovered self-development before it became a law of attraction shit show.
I get it.
And So, and I would say it took me maybe a year or two where I was really believing these concepts to be true and trying to live by those understandings. But ever since then, it's a progressive development.
Deepening of that.
Deepening.
How old were you when you made that?
That was in my late 20s, before 30.
Okay, interesting. And then do you sometimes feel yourself slip back?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah?
Of course.
How do you get back on track?
I think the way it works, actually, is that the universe is like Bitcoin. It has a difficulty adjustment.
I love it. There's another quote right there. The universe is like Bitcoin with a difficulty adjustment.
Yeah, because it throws things at you at the level you're at. And then, so it tests basically is your conviction true?
Yeah.
Are you really that hotshot motherfucker that you pretend to be?
That is sick. I like that. So how do you get back on track when you feel yourself slip?
That's the nice part about it. The core principles are ever true, and they're again simplistic. So once you if you got swayed away by your looks, your money, your importance, your the ladies in your life, whatever it is, find back to your center, find back to what, and bring back a routine that is stripped of a lot of noise. Have a connection with God. That's something everybody needs to find with themselves as well. I do find myself, I wouldn't call it praying per se, but I do speak with the creative force in a way that I feel I'm expressing my, like, I rather speak with God than with a psychologist.
That's another quote right there. Clip that out, folks. That's a good one, though. I like it.
And because in my world, life reacts. It does. If I repent in a way that say, like, dude, I got off track here, and I don't pray for God to change something for me. What I pray for is just to give me the ability to see and find the strength to make the changes necessary. Again, the only scope of control that you have is you.
Yeah.
Always. Never something else. Never something external. Ever, ever, ever. Not God, not your wife, not your kids, not your business.
Not the government. Yeah. It's very beautiful that you say that, because a lot of people need to realize that, especially nowadays. It's like, oh, the government should do this for me. I should be taken care of. I want shit done for you. No, man.
Loser talk. Nonsense distractions.
Exactly. What do you think in terms of trading? Will AI be able to change the game for trading?
I think that AI will take away a lot of trading opportunities in the short term as we know them today. Like trading crypto or like intraday, or like just like a shorter time frame sort of things. I think that AI will take over that space in the next 5-10 years to a degree where you as a manual trader are not even able or necessary to do it. So
does it mean I can deploy my own AI to do it for me, or does it mean I can't do anything anymore?
And it's probably going to be like everybody's going to have the ability to do that, let's just say, but which also means that the opportunities in the market will be that won't exist. Like the dynamics of how markets move will change. So that's why I think the more interesting part is to understand investing. It's like, where is the actual big asymmetric upside going from here? And I think the asymmetric upside going from here will be to be a capital owner. Invest and put your capital in places that have exponential growth potential. And again, right very now, I would very much simplify that to Bitcoin, Tesla, and MicroStrategy.
Tesla is especially, I would have never thought you'd talk about Tesla.
For sure.
In a million years.
Because it's the most underpriced right now, in my opinion.
How much underpriced is it, percentage?
I think Tesla could go to thousands. Right now, trading around 400. And I think like none of the robot business, none of the self-driving business, none of these things is baked into that price.
But do you think there can be competitors that overtake Tesla?
It's difficult because I don't think that anyone has the amount of data, the amount of infrastructure, the amount of also the leader factor is clearly in play here. And also, I mean, if you look at Elon Musk's results where he personally gets involved, I said earlier, this guy doesn't fucking miss. He said like, okay, I'm gonna support Trump, and if I don't win, I'm gonna be in deep fucking shit. Even me, Elon fucking Musk, gonna have big problems, and he fucking made it work. And now he's doing the same in Germany. Now he's
he's getting involved in Germany all of a sudden.
He spoke with Alex Douedari last week.
I was gonna say that just happened. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. And think about it. He has all these big ass factories all over the world. Who's going to come up with that infrastructure just like that? Who has the technology, the know-how, the batteries, the robots, the AI, the factories, the political influences? No, who?
So what exactly is he doing in Germany? I didn't quite get that.
So what? Basically, Germany is plagued by a government that is not the smartest in the world. Let's put it this way.
What are they doing wrong?
So basically, they turned off the energy. They turned off all the nuclears and all the coals, and essentially because they want to put through a green agenda. Now, one thing we need to understand: Germany is an industrial country. So an industrial country has a big need of energy.
Yeah.
So, and what did they cut off? Energy. So that's number one. So that's just like stupid. Sorry, and then what? By the way, they importing energy now from France or other countries, and they essentially their carbon footprint right now is higher than before they turn off that shit.
That's a classic greenwashing. Classic. It was like, it looks like we're greener, but actually we're just fucking everything up, and it fucks our country up, and it costs us more money.
And on top, the whole regulations that they put in place, and the EU is also part of that, is that it disabled the big German industrial companies to a degree where they're actually start losing money. Like Audi is losing money, Volkswagen is losing money, is closing down factories. Like Mercedes is, and we're talking about not just Germany as an economic power. We're talking about the economic engine of Europe. Okay, like so what Elon Musk is trying to do is and on the politics side of things, you have like the SPD, like the let's just say the
socialist,
moderate left wings, you have the right wings, the CDU, and then you have like the AfD, which is like Alternative for Germany. Like, I don't endorse any of these parties. I don't live in the country. I don't vote, so I don't want to get into trouble here, but probably I will anyway. Fuck it. It's just like, but they built these things called Brandmauer. So basically, they put in a firewall so that all the old parties say we would never go into a coalition with the AfD. And the AfD essentially...
Because the AfD is far right.
That's exactly what you're saying now. This is what Elon Musk is changing, because they are seen and considered as far right. But actually, they might be the ones with the most common sense type of approach to their motherland.
All right, okay.
And to their economy, and to a bunch of things that actually make the country what it was. And
over a year ago, I had Carl S. on the podcast, and he was like, I endorse the AfD. And I'd never gotten this many shit comments underneath a YouTube video.
It's me saying it as a Syrian immigrant.
I was going to say,
I grew up,
exactly.
But I'm a time traveler. I was a Syrian immigrant before they came. And I left before they...
But okay, that's interesting. So because I know nothing about politics.
What he's done is
really
essentially he put her on a Spaces. Like Alice Weidel is like, she essentially could be the next chancellor of Germany.
So who put her there?
Elon Musk and her, they had a conversation.
And she's from the AfD.
She's basically the head of the AfD. She would be like the
what is her name? I'm gonna Google her.
Alice Weidel.
Weidel? Okay.
Yeah, Weidl.
Okay, I'll check.
And they all went crazy. Like, the European Union wanted to shut down. They said, like, oh, Twitter is meddling with our democracy. And they're just influencing here. And we're going to do this and that. Because the only thing that happened, it was actually just a conversation. It wasn't even an interview. It's in a way, it's Joe Rogan, Donald Trump in a different setting. Okay?
Yeah.
And then people are just trying to, they realize, like, wait a minute. I mean, that woman, everything she said, I don't think she's a fucking Nazi.
Okay.
And again, I'm not saying that's my opinion or any of that. Everybody needs to make their own opinion. But it wakes people up from their media-induced slumber. And that's what he's doing. That's basically, he's waking people up and giving them reasons to consider other perspectives that are taboo.
And he's putting some sort of pressure on the economy. And is he using his leverage? Because, I mean, how many people does he have employed with his...
Well, he has that factory close to Berlin, actually.
Yeah.
And I think that what he wants to do, but this is just speculation on my part, I think that he wants to introduce Optimus in Germany first, because Germany is a very
What is Optimus exactly?
That's the robot. That's the Tesla robot.
Oh,
and I think
no
that
shit.
because Germany is a very industry or machinery heavy type of economy,
So it could work in the factories.
I think that this is his play here, that he wants to, that Germany should be patient zero for the adoption of his robots in a way.
Sick.
I think so. That's my
You know, the more I think, especially over the last 2 years, I've gotten so much more into big picture thinking, into this like thinking beyond the 1 year mark of like, okay, what do we need to do for 2 years? What do we need for? So then the offer that we're, for example, that we started in 2024, that we're now doubling down on 2025. That was me thinking 2 to 3 years ahead of like, we need this. We're gonna need this offer. I see the writing on the wall. We're gonna need to do this. And the last quarter of 2024 was record quarter. We've never had it like that. Completely built on that new offer that we had built.
And by the way, that's really no news to anyone that has a brain.
Exactly.
Wayne Gretzky said, the recipe for his success was not to look where the puck is at, but where it's going.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, with hearing Elon saying like, okay, I'm gonna have these robots developed over the next 5 to 10 years. Where do I need to put them? Oh, Germany.
Oh, that guy is.
But the environment in Germany is not conducive because they're voting bullshit right now. So I need to endorse the AfD folks so they can make sure that I have an environment for the next 5 to 10 years to then test my robots, so I can then roll them all worldwide and make a shit ton of money.
What he is, he's basically a poker. He's
literally.
He's poking things and then just watch the stuff.
Very much so. And he's playing chess on a very long time scale.
4D chess, actually.
4D.
And you know
Exactly.
what I like about how he's doing it, like, if you look at the old school Illuminati whatever methods, they're like it's all about deceiving, right? It's all about concealing. It's all about not telling the real story. It's all about creating fake narratives. It's all about mind control. And I think what he's doing is he's just trying to remove barriers so that people can open their perspectives, and then the rest happens naturally. I mean, what does Joe Rogan really do other than sit down with Donald Trump, like we two are doing
Smoke
here?
weed and have a good time.
Yeah, something like that in a way, and then people just connect with that because suddenly they realize, like, wait a minute, that's actually life. That's actually reality. Not fucking shit I'm stuck with.
Yeah, not the CNN, not the Fox News, not the fucking 5-minute sound bits. Today we are here with Alex. How about you tell us? No, it's like swearing, it's talking, it's improvising, it's just being yourself.
And again, simplify, right? And the same, like, for example, especially in trading, I know it's a very competitive field. There's so many offers and people that promise, that they're going to make you rich overnight, and they have all the sophistication in their fucking approaches and whatnot. But at the end of the day, they're just trying to sell you shit, and then when you ask any of those guys for real verified results, trading results, they fucking don't have them. Okay. That's also one of the reasons I started like a track record. I think is now a little over 2 years, just to show people. This is actually trading, it's not even investing. Just to show people that I have a simple trading strategy. So on my YouTube, you can see it all, the rules I trade, all of that very clear. I have a 2 years verified track record. I'm up over 110%. And just show people that's what I'm doing. It's simple. So like, here it is. Fucking tangible, verified on a regulated platform.
Sick.
No marketing, no loud shouting, sophistication. But that's what happens in finance a lot, because people throw around these words and these big whatever nonsense.
Yeah.
And like a lot of times, it's probably you have the same thing in marketing. When people come up with their marketing gimmicks and whatever, and we do that and blah, blah. And I just like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Marketers ruin everything, how they say. Marketers ruin everything. It's like, especially once you're competing with Flash, the next guy has to be even flashier. One guy rents a Lambo. I'm going to run my Lambo. Next guy rents a private jet. And it's all just about faking all the shit.
And this what I think is actually the countermeasure to that is the podcast, the Joe Rogan, the Elon Musk philosophy. Yeah. And I resonate and connect with that because it's actually how I live my life too.
It's bouncing back. You really see that Trump being elected into office was a big indicator that it's bouncing back. The pendulum is swinging back. Everybody's is visibly getting sick and tired of being lied to, of being treated like babies, of being treated like they're fucking idiots. COVID was a great example of that, where everybody was acting like,
they just confuse people.
Exactly. Everybody was acting like it's a serious thing. Everybody was acting like they wouldn't read the actual science, and it was also fucking fake. And people got more and more sick and fucking tired. And then you have literally this random bald muscle bro that is smoking weed and taking mushrooms on his podcast, just talking shit. Talking about having fun, talking about comedy,
and
talking about MMA.
Some guests are questionable, but that's part of it.
Exactly. And then that's gonna be the guy where people are like, I believe that fucking guy more than the fucking suit and tie wearing, no, because you're wearing suit and tie, but it's not about you, than the suit and tie wearing CNN reporter chode that has clearly been sponsored by Pfizer. Shit, exactly. That's literally with an earpiece being told what to say and who to fucking endorse today. So that's what you're gonna get.
And I think this is what's happening. It's sort of a catalyst. It's like, it's just like a trigger that is gonna help people, if they're ready for it and they want it, to really reconsider their reality and also their own behavior, their own ability, their own connection to God and their potential, and actually change the whole fucking world.
Exactly, and that's why I have people like you on the podcast, because I want people to feel inspired to wake up and say there's way more to that than you're being told. There's way more easy ways where you can build your own wealth, but you gotta think for yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta look outside the box, outside the realm of what you think is possible. You cannot listen to the naysayers, your friends and the family who are trying to pull you back because they're scared to lose you.
Basically, I read this from Michael Saylor the other day. I'm not sure if I get all the points straight, but he said, like, train your mind, train your body, learn to think for yourself, curate your friends, curate your environment. What was it like? And upgrade the world, basically.
Just make the world a better place. Create win-wins for everyone.
Exactly. And if everybody does that, that's also, by the way, one thing that I love about Bitcoin is that the more people adopt Bitcoin, the more everyone wins. There's no losers in getting added to that system. There's no one little party taking scope away from it. That it's really if more companies start to buy Bitcoin, the ones that have it already will also go up, and everybody benefits. That's part of the system. And the same way, if we all find our best potential and we all adhere to these principles that we have touched on in talking in the last hour or whatnot, everybody wins. There are no losers to that. That's my firm belief. And this is why I'm sitting here and talking. And this is why I'm working my ass off, changing myself and really putting this out, because I'm a father, for God's sake, man. What else am I going to do?
Dude, like I said, it's been super sick to get to know you. Back in Cannes when we met, it was already pretty cool. We had some really interesting conversations, and then we wanted to hop on a podcast in Cyprus.
Right, that
couldn't make it work.
Yeah.
Then you happened to be in Vienna. I'm like, what the fuck else? Come on. And like you said, you look even younger, even since I met you in fucking Canada a couple months ago.
Happy to hear that.
That's really good. You look fresh. You look happy. You're obviously on top of your fucking game. How can people learn from you? How can they plug into your system? How can they reach out to you?
Right. So basically, you can find me on YouTube. It's Alex Douedari. So Alex Douedari. I'm on Instagram. It's Alex Dou, ALEXDOU. And this is where you find me, basically.
To check it out, we'll of course put it in the description below as well and all that jazz.
Cool,
and what are you gonna do now? You're gonna shoot more marketing stuff with your crew, or?
Yeah, we have some other content to shoot. We spent the last few days again recording some stuff already, so we're finishing that.
Sick.
And then my parents are coming over tomorrow, so I'm gonna spend a weekend here in Vienna with them. And
nice.
Then
I reckon they got paid back the $90K that they gave you back in the days.
No idea.
Yeah. Shout out to your parents. Thanks for coming on the podcast, man. It was a pleasure, dude.
My pleasure.
Let's go crush. GG.
On this podcast, I talk to a lot of great entrepreneurs, big brands, and people that are absolutely crushing it in their fields. If you want to work with me one-on-one to help you start your business, scale your business, automate your business, use AI to make money online, even if you've never done anything like this before, then go ahead and use the link down in the description below to apply to work with me directly and my team. We're going to be working with you one-on-one. We're going to help you make a ton of money. We're going to help you automate your business. Whatever it is that you want to be doing or that you are doing already, we can probably help you. If you're making less than $500,000 a month, you want to get to that level, we can probably help you. So link down in the description below. Thank you so much for listening / watching and being part of the Max Tornow podcast crew. I appreciate the hell out of you, and talk soon.